All eyes are on Philadelphia this week, and not just because of the matchup against the Giants. There's a storm brewing behind the scenes, and it all starts with Howie Roseman. That's right. When the Eagles' private jet was spotted down in Tennessee, eyebrows were raised, and the speculation train took off. Now look, this isn't just about some regular front office check-in. When Howie's name is attached to something, especially mid-season, you better believe there's something cooking. The Titans are clearly in selling mode, and the Eagles? They're buyers, especially when it comes to adding firepower for a postseason run. And seeing the jet in Nashville? That's not random. That's business. Now, before we dive too deep into the trade smoke, let's talk about something a little more immediate. This injury report. And folks, it's not looking great. A.J. Brown did not practice. Hamstring. And if you know anything about football, or frankly, about A.J. Brown's impact on this team, you know that's not something to brush off. Hamstrings are sneaky. They linger. They tease you like they're healed, and then snap back up the second a guy tries to explode off the line. It's one of those injuries that can derail a whole season if you're not careful. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Hamstrings are up there with ACLs when it comes to risk. It's not about toughness. It's about healing right, and the timing could not be worse. And it doesn't stop there. Adoree Jackson? Concussion. Didn't practice. Cam Jurgens? Knee. Didn't practice. Same with Azeez Ojulari, also dealing with a hamstring. There's a whole list of players limited or out. And while that's just part of the grind at this point in the season, it's what this means for Sunday that has people talking. Because now, with A.J. Brown potentially sidelined, we're looking at Devonta Smith to take center stage. Now here's where things get interesting. Devonta Smith isn't just ready to step up. He's asking for the spotlight. In a recent interview, he basically said, "Yeah, I've got a national title, I've got a Heisman, I've played in a Super Bowl. Now give me a Pro Bowl." And that wasn't just him being playful, that was hunger. That was a guy who's checked every team goal and now wants to get the individual recognition he knows he deserves. And let's be honest, the way he's playing, he should be in that conversation. Devonta Smith is criminally underrated. He's quietly putting up serious numbers. We're talking about a receiver who's consistently near the top 10 in yardage, who's a threat on every snap, who reads defenses like a quarterback, and who just so happens to be playing alongside another superstar. If A.J. Brown weren't on this roster, Devonta would be in every top 10 receiver list across the league. The talent is obvious, but what people overlook is how smart he is on the field. He's not just running routes. He's calling out defensive alignments, adjusting formations, and getting himself open with pure football IQ. One play stands out where he told the coaches, "Hey, the safety is playing high. Run this, and I'll be open deep." What happened? Exactly what he said. That's next-level stuff. This week might be his big chance. Without A.J. Brown, the Eagles still have a receiving core that can hurt defenses. You've got Devonta, Jayad Dawson, John Mechie III, and potentially Darius Cooper stepping in. And while none of those guys have the pure muscle and explosiveness of A.J., that's still a group with speed, precision, and chemistry. And Devonta? He knows this is the moment to prove he's more than a number two. He wants to be the guy, and this might be the game that shifts that perception. Now back to that private jet in Tennessee, because we can't just ignore it. The guys from Bussin' with the Boys spotted the Eagles plane parked at a Tennessee airport, and let's just say it's not tourist season in Nashville for NFL execs. You don't send the private jet out midweek unless something is happening. And when Roseman's people, or maybe even Roseman himself, show up in a city where a team is clearly offloading talent, you've got to ask, who are they going after? The Titans have pieces. Pass rushers, safeties, linemen. Players who could easily slot into Philadelphia's rotation and immediately make an impact. And the Eagles aren't just making calls, they're making moves. That's how this front office operates. They're aggressive. They don't wait for perfect timing. They create it. And with the trade deadline looming, you better believe Roseman is trying to steal a key piece for cheap. It's not just fans speculating either. Someone close to the organization, someone who used to work under Roseman, commented on the Jet post like, "Oh, I know who that is." You don't say that unless you've got some inside info. So maybe it wasn't Howie himself on that flight, but one of his top scouts or lieutenants. Yeah, that's likely. And if they're in Tennessee, they're doing more than sightseeing. That's what makes this Eagles team dangerous. Not just the talent on the field, but the way the front office stays ahead of the curve. They're not reacting to injuries. They're anticipating them. A.J. Brown might miss a game. Fine. We've got depth. We've got young guys hungry to prove themselves. And oh yeah, we might be working a trade behind the scenes to plug any remaining holes before the real grind starts in December and January. Let's not forget, this team is built to win now. Everything about the roster, the coaching staff, and the front office screams urgency. They don't want to wait another year. They don't want to see how it goes. They want another shot at a championship, and they're willing to make bold moves to get there. That's what makes this Jets sighting such a big deal. It's not just about curiosity. It's about knowing that every move from this franchise is calculated. Every flight, every meeting, every roster decision, it's all part of a bigger puzzle. And when the Eagles start putting those pieces together, it usually means something big is about to happen. Meanwhile, fans are holding their breath about A.J. Brown. There are whispers that he's trending toward playing. Some insiders are saying he might suit up. But let's be honest, 2 missed practices? That doesn't scream, ready to go. And even if he does play, will he be himself? That's the question. Because an 80% A.J. Brown is still better than most receivers in the league. But if that hamstring isn't fully healed, is it worth the risk? Do you want to chance it against a struggling Giants squad? Or do you let him rest and rely on the rest of your playmakers to get the job done? That's where guys like Darius Cooper come in. Fresh off injured reserve, the timing of his return feels less like a coincidence and more like a contingency plan. You don't elevate a guy that quickly unless you think you're going to need him. And with A.J. likely out or limited, Cooper could be that 4th guy stepping into the rotation. While the spotlight right now is shining bright on Devonta Smith and the uncertainty around A.J. Brown, the real magic, or madness, might be happening behind closed doors. The Eagles are known for pulling off last-minute trades that no one sees coming until the deal is done. That Jet in Tennessee, it could be the first domino. And if you think Howie Roseman is just kicking the tires on a backup, think again. When the Eagles scout talent mid-season, especially from a team like the Titans that's clearly offloading and preparing for a rebuild, it means they see real value that fits right into their playoff blueprint. Tennessee's roster has a handful of names that would immediately upgrade Philadelphia's depth. Pass rush is still a need. Despite all the praise for the Eagles' defensive front, they've been inconsistent at getting pressure late in games. If there's a rotational edge rusher sitting in Nashville with potential to fill that gap, Howie is not just going to make a phone call. He's going to make a move. And the Eagles don't overpay. They play the long game, waiting for that perfect window where a team like the Titans is desperate enough to let a valuable player go for less than they're worth. You also have to consider the injury situation and how it plays into these decisions. Cam Jurgens, a key part of the offensive line, didn't practice. That's not a small loss. You protect Jalen Hurts with a wall, and if pieces of that wall start to fall, Howie's going to start building reinforcements immediately. And while names like Landon Dickerson and Dallas Goedert are still involved in practice at a limited or full level, one setback could tilt things in the wrong direction. This front office is proactive. They don't wait for collapse before reacting. If Jurgens isn't ready soon, maybe that jet to Tennessee wasn't just about defense. Maybe there's an interior lineman out there who fits the scheme, fits the system, and is just sitting on a team that's ready to move on. And speaking of urgency, let's circle back to A.J. Brown. Even though there are whispers he might play, it's hard to shake the feeling that he shouldn't. The risk outweighs the reward. We've seen it too many times in the NFL. Top-tier athletes come back 1 week too soon, tweak the same muscle, and then it's a month on the sideline instead of a week. When you look at the schedule, this Giants game is one you should be able to win without forcing your top receiver back into action. That's not to disrespect the Giants, but let's be real, they're not exactly lighting it up. This is a team the Eagles should be able to beat with Devonta, Jayad Dawson, Mechie, and a fully healthy Darius Cooper stepping into a rotational role. And Cooper? This could be a breakout opportunity for him. He's been stashed on IR, but if he's back now, it means the staff sees something. They don't throw guys into the mix unless there's confidence. He brings size, agility, and a little bit of that underdog chip that Philly loves. It wouldn't be a shock if he made a couple of key grabs in this matchup, especially if AJ is sidelined. And that might be exactly what this team needs, a spark from someone unexpected. That's how the Eagles always seem to find that next wave of talent. Someone goes down, and the next man up becomes a star. This organization doesn't just develop players, they put them in positions to succeed. That brings us back to Devonta Smith. He's playing like a guy who's tired of being the other receiver. He's already shown he can dominate games. He's already shown he can be trusted in big moments. Now he's hungry for that individual stamp. He wants the league to recognize what fans already know. He's one of the best in the game. Making the Pro Bowl? That's personal now. It's no longer just about wins, it's about legacy. And while All-Pro may be tough in a league stacked with names like C.D. Lamb, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and even his own teammate A.J. Brown, the Pro Bowl is within reach. Especially if he keeps putting up the kind of performances we've seen this season. He's currently near the top 10 in yards among all wide receivers. That's not an accident. That's not inflated numbers from garbage time. That's him being a consistent threat every week. That's him burning corners, splitting safeties, and making contested catches look routine. And it's not just about stats, it's about feel. You can sense when a guy's game is evolving. Devonta is more confident, more vocal, more demanding of the ball. And that's what you want to see from a player entering his prime. If A.J. Brown is out for a week or more, this is the window where Devonta can truly shine as the focal point. But let's not forget, football is a team sport, and nothing happens in a vacuum. For Smith to have the type of game that turns heads, Jalen Hurts needs to be on point. The offensive line needs to hold. The play calling needs to give him opportunities to get open and make plays after the catch. And the defense? They need to do their part too. You don't want to end up in a shootout because the secondary got exposed. Which is why, once again, that jet in Tennessee looms large. If the Eagles can bring in someone to bolster the pass rush or the defensive backfield, it gives the offense even more breathing room. There's also the possibility that a deal is already done, just not announced yet. The NFL works in shadows sometimes. By the time we hear about a trade, the agreement was made days ago. So that sighting in Tennessee might not be the start of a conversation. It might have been the closing handshake. And if that's the case, we could be looking at a new name in midnight green by kickoff. That's how fast things move when you've got a front office that doesn't rest. What fans have to remember is that this isn't panic mode. It's planning mode. The Eagles aren't reacting to a loss or a losing streak. They're preparing for January. Every move made right now is about getting stronger for the postseason. So whether it's a fresh receiver stepping up in place of AJ, a new pass rusher coming in via trade, or simply seeing Devonta Smith take the league by storm, this stretch of the season is all about momentum. FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments, and let's talk birds. The NFL world is buzzing with excitement today after a bombshell announcement from the Philadelphia Eagles organization. The team has officially confirmed the historic signing of quarterback Jordan Love. Sources close to the franchise say this move could reshape the NFL landscape and potentially mark the beginning of a new era in Philadelphia. Love, who has been under the radar for some time, is suddenly thrust into the spotlight as fans and analysts alike scramble to understand the implications of this unprecedented acquisition. While the Eagles have long been a team to watch, this signing signals a bold and aggressive strategy from the front office. Insiders suggest that the management has been meticulously plotting for a game-changing move, and landing Love could be the culmination of months, if not years, of careful planning. The buzz around this transfer is unlike anything seen in recent seasons. Social media is ablaze with speculation about how Love will fit into the Eagles' offense, which already boasts a high-powered roster. Analysts are debating whether he will step in as a starter immediately or be groomed behind the scenes. But one thing is clear. Philadelphia is sending a message. Fans are already dreaming about the possibilities. Could Love be the key to finally unlocking a Super Bowl run? Could his mobility and arm strength inject a new dimension into the team's playbook? Rumors swirl about the locker room dynamics, with some insiders claiming that veterans are excited by the prospect of working with a quarterback of Love's talent and potential. Others wonder whether the weight of expectation might be a challenge for the young player. Regardless, the Eagles' boldness in pulling off such a historic signing is generating headlines from coast to coast. Even rival teams are reportedly taking notice. Scouts and general managers are said to be re-evaluating their own rosters and draft strategies in light of this move. The Eagles, it seems, are signaling that they are no longer content to play it safe. They are willing to make waves, shake up the status quo, and perhaps alter the balance of power in the NFL for years to come. Jordan Love may not have fully proven himself yet, but in Philadelphia, the hype is real and the excitement is tangible. This is more than just a signing, it's a statement. The rumor mill is running wild, and for Eagles fans, the future has never looked more electrifying. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.